Okay, so we got a repeat customer. Previously, the customer was complaining that the belt kept falling off the mower deck. So he had an old belt. So what happened was his belt fell off. He took it to a mechanic. The mechanic replaced the belt, gave him the belt that was falling off, and then the new belt started falling off. Well, the new belt was completely wore out. I mean, there was just something wrong with it, completely wore out. So I put the old belt on just to see if it would work, and it worked. It stayed on. So I told the customer, it's the old belt stayed on. Do you want me to buy you a new belt? He said, no. I need to mow my grass. So he came, picked it up, paid me to put that old belt on. But then he says, it's just making a lot of noise. Is there anything you can do about that? After some conversations, I learned that he is replacing belts every year. And that just seems a little odd to me. So I said, there may be something wrong with your mower deck. You might have a bent pulley or something. I said, we could just do a rebuild and see how it goes. And the rebuilds are, $130 or so. I mean, they're expensive, they're pricey, but I don't know, he's paying all this money each year to have the belts replaced. So a rebuild kit comes with the spindles, there's a belt, new blades, which are pretty expensive anyways. And then all the pulleys, there's a pulley, that one's probably to the spindle. Then you have your idler pulleys here. So we're gonna replace all those and see if this noise that he's talking about still exists. Now I'll remove the two clips on the other side. I don't need to record it. You know how to do it now. So you got the engagement cable that you got to get off. So the first thing you're going to do is try to remove it from the lock here. All right, the cable seems to be jammed up somehow. So instead of just tugging and pulling until it breaks, I'm going to just remove it from the bracket. Now we'll detach the spring. Just to be clear, the cable will be in the way the rest of the day. Okay, so I took the guards off. Then I'm going to take the pulley off of the spindle. Then I'm going to unbolt the spindle, and it should just drop down. That way I don't have to remove the blades. But then this was stuck, and I thought I was going to need a gear puller, and I don't have one. So I took this bolt, and I just basically just tapped it a few times, and that popped right loose. Okay, it should just drop right out now. There it is. Okay, so here's the new spindle. It's got new bolts, new mower deck bolt, or new blade bolt. It's also got the spindle bolt. Pulley, I should say. normally I don't tighten things with the impact wrench, but since this was so tight that the impact wrench couldn't get them off, it won't hurt. Okay, you shouldn't use extension bars. Well, actually, you shouldn't even use you shouldn't use regular sockets, but you can buy impact sockets. But you shouldn't use extension bars with the impact wrench because there's twisting in it. So every time it hits, that twist, so you don't really get it tight very good. That's okay, I'm gonna hand tighten them. Okay, so I'm gonna grease this. As I told you, I think I said, the old ones did not have grease zerks on them. Now, there is debate whether you actually have to grease these or not. They're sealed bearings in there, so the grease doesn't actually reach it, is what they say. But since the zerk's here, I should grease it. Okay, grease started coming out at the bottom down there, so that's all we need. Okay, so I'm going to put on the new spindle, new pulley. Okay, I'm only going to do it hand tight. That way if something goes wrong, I can always take it back off. Since the blades have a star pattern on them, I don't have to get it very tight to hold on to it to tighten this bolt up at the top. To try to lock this blade into place. Okay, so if that log or board or whatever you use works, then you should be able to just pop this relatively easily. Okay, with the bolt above the threads, it really doesn't matter in this case since this is a used one, we're going to replace it. That's all there is to it. Got busy and forgot to record, but I got the other two pulleys on. These were not near as difficult, obviously, as the spindle was. So 9/16 an impact wrench and came right up. This one, same thing, except I had to have a 9/16 underneath to hold the nut. Came right up. I did not get replacement nuts and bolts for these two though, so that was a little disappointing, but everything else was brand new, which was good because when I pulled one of these bolts up here, it snapped. So I'm going to put the belt on, and then I'm going to tighten the mower blades, and then we can put the deck back on. Now there is a pattern right here. Some lawnmowers have a pattern on it, others do not. If you don't have a pattern on yours, look it up online or in your manual. Okay, so I think everything's done. All the pulleys are on. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back up onto the lawnmower and we'll test it out. Not gonna demonstrate how to put it back on because it's just the opposite of taking it off. I didn't get a chance to make a ending to this video. The customer came and picked it up before I had a chance to actually get it to show you it running. But it cut real good. I don't like cutting it this low, but that's what he had it set on. So I thought I'd better test it the way he had it, but boy, it sure did cut into the dirt. So it ran great. He loved it, didn't make the noise that he was worried about before. So I guess another satisfied customer. He brought over 2 chainsaws for me to work on. So if I can inspire you to maintain your parts so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.